Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to D+Pad Life, and today I want to talk about Astro Bot Rescue Mission. That's right, Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Forgive my torn label. I got this one at a pawn shop for a really good price. It is what it is. Yeah, a PlayStation 4 game, and what is that? PlayStation VR. Now, I think most people know Astro Bot nowadays from the PlayStation 5 game, which was a huge hit, recently released only a few months ago, as well as when you get your PlayStation 5 and you first boot it up, you can download a free Astro Bot game, which is honestly really incredible. It's a really fun time, but there was totally an Astro Bot game before that. And today I want to discuss it because I recently completed this game from front to back. I 100%ed it and I had a great time. But before we dive into it, I'm curious, have any of you played this game? And if not, have you played the PS5 game? I actually haven't gotten that yet. I'd be curious what y'all's thoughts were on either, especially if you've played this one or if you've at least know about this one and have been curious. Let me know in the comments if you've got any experience with Astro Bot at all. I really am falling in love with this cute little franchise and really do consider him to be Sony's mascot. So let's jump into it, shall we? So, sorry, forgive me. I just had some lunch and I'm having to clear my throat a little bit. I'm sure it'll pass. But yeah, if you're new to the channel, I'm a big fan of the original PlayStation VR, primarily because it's such a affordable way to play VR. You can get these headsets now used for really cheap, generally under $100, but I've seen them for as low as $50. And what's really cool about PlayStation VR now, what's really cool about it is you can get physical games for extremely cheap, really affordable. Like, I got this at a pawn shop. I think I paid $5 for this game, and it's generally a $15 to $20 game. But I mean, I've gotten countless VR games at this point for like $5, $10. Usually I don't spend more than $10 on a VR game. There are some that are worth more for sure, but I haven't had to cough up that much yet. So yeah, the PlayStation VR, it's a little archaic. Like, the technology on it is a little archaic, and as far as VR goes, because that is a branch of gaming that has advanced quickly. But for what it is, with the right setup, man, it's magnificent. And nowadays you can get a adapter for it so you can play it on your PS5, and that's what I do. Now, jumping in to Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Now, what you will need is a PlayStation DualShock 4. So if you're planning on playing this on your PS5, you still need a DualShock 4. Something that I think a lot of people forget about the PS4 controller is that on the front of the controller, well, at the top, there's a light bar that glows. And the camera seen right here that you use for PlayStation VR tracks that light for a lot of what you do in this game. And so it's really important that you have a DualShock 4. Your PS5 controller will not work for this game. At least for some of the levels. But all that being said, yeah, so let's jump into it, man. Astro Bot Rescue Mission, I was really taken aback at just how good this game is. Now, as far as mechanically, like the way it handles and Astro Bot himself, like his capabilities, you're going to get the same experience you got from the PlayStation 5 built-in game. I can't really speak for the latest release. I have not played that yet. They might have added some new features for that one. But, you know, you get your little double jump where it's less than a double jump and more of a hover, where as you jump and you hit the jump button again, he kind of like hovers and like lasers shoot out of his feet. You still have that. You have your punch attack. You have your charge punch, where if you hold the attack button and let go, he'll like spin and do a bunch of damage. And really, that is it for how he controls mechanically. A jump, a little hover jump, and his basic attacks. And what's neat is that's all you really need to make a truly magnificent game, because what shines the brightest in this experience is the level design. Now, I think what might be a little like confusing for people is, how is a 3D platformer going to work in VR? Like, how can that be any good? What can make that special? And the truth of the matter is, I was wondering the same thing. And in fact, before I started filming, I meant to grab a little figure. I want to do an example. We're going to use this guy. This is Astro Bot for the sake of this video. I want to do an example to kind of help you guys wrap your head around how a 3D platformer, at least I'll say this 3D platformer works in VR. So imagine what the camera is seeing right now is what you will see through a VR headset, right? Obviously, you would have your peripheral view. You'd be able to see outside these walls. But for the sake of this video, this is what you see in your VR headset. And this is Astro Bot. So as you control Astro Bot and he runs around, you can run off camera. You have to keep your eyes on him, right? Now, most of the stages are built in almost like a tunnel, so to speak. So there is verticality up and down. Sometimes you'll see a pit and you can look into that pit. Got some little flakes on the floor here. You can look on that in that pit and you can jump down there. So say, this is a good example. Say we're up here on the couch, right? And I see I hear one of my bots I'm trying to save. It's called Rescue Mission for a reason. I hear them saying, help me, and I can hear it coming out of my right earbud. So that means they're to my right. If I look over, it's like, man, I don't see them anywhere. But if I look down here, suddenly I see them hanging onto the side of this cliff here, and there's like a bounce pad. So I can look back, have Astro Bot jump, hit them to knock them free, and then bounce off the bounce pad to get back up. You get to do really cool stuff like that where you're constantly having to adjust yourself and like look around to explore the levels. Really a lot of like looking up into your sides. Sometimes there'll be like straight up like a bridge that Astro Bot will jump onto and he's crossing the bridge and you have to keep track of him. Sometimes he's literally above you and you're having to watch him like as he goes around. And it hopefully explaining it sparks like your imagination, because I hadn't really seen much gameplay for this game. And the gameplay I had seen, I was just like, okay, looks like a pretty standard 3D platformer. I don't know why, there'd be much more reason to like, I don't know why I would invest into a VR headset just to play another 3D platformer, because they're abundant, right? Like you can get them all over the place. But when I tell you, this is like not only one of the best 3D platformers I've ever played, and that does have a lot to do with it being in VR, because due to this experience that you get via the headset, this was one of the most fun games I have ever played in my entire life. And I've been playing video games since the original Nintendo. One of my earliest games was Super Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. I played Tetris. I played Castlevania 3. I've been playing games for a really long time. This was truly magical. It brought me to this place of like, wow, man, like video games really can be more than what they've always been. There really is this whole realm that we have yet to expand upon and explore. And I feel like VR might have come in and been put on a pedestal a little too early. I think the tech wasn't quite where it needed to be to really grab the masses. And especially at the price points that they were asking for. And so by the time VR headsets become really affordable, I fear that the novelty will have worn off and people will be like, oh yeah, VR, that's been done. It's always kind of disappointing. It's never really that great. I think we've got some standout VR games now that you can really lean on and be like, no man, VR can truly be incredible. But it's really hard to capture people's attention with VR. You know what I mean? It just is, which is one reason I lean to the PlayStation VR. Because again, it's just so affordable. You can really get in and experience some of these games at a low risk. So let's talk a little bit more details about the game itself. So the game has 5 worlds, and each world has 4 stages and 1 boss fight. There's also a final boss. So in total, there's 6 boss fights, and there's 20 stages. In each stage, there's 8 of these little robots to save. That's kind of cool how they actually made the count accurate. There's 7 here and there's 1 here joining them to make 8. You find 8 bots per stage, and you can also find what's a chameleon. So remember how I was talking about how you'll be looking around and really exploring? Sometimes like you would come around like over an arch, and then I'll look back up on the arch, and hiding on the back of it, you can see like a glowy eye, and if you keep your eyes on it, the eye will like open bigger until suddenly it reveals a full colored chameleon, and he's like, oh, you caught me, and then he pops. And what that does is unlocks a challenge stage. Each stage in this game, other than boss fights, has a chameleon in it. But even the boss fights all have a challenge version unlocked. Now, they're not just the same stage over again. They're completely unique stages. Sometimes they're time attacks, like get through this stage in a minute to get the top score. Or sometimes it's like whack-a-mole, or there's these really cool accessories. So the way this game is set up, something I guess I could have explained is how I remember how I said you look around. Your camera in the game is a physical character in the game. It's this giant robot that's following Astro Bot around. So even if he looks at if you turn him towards the camera and you look at him, he'll actually wave to you. He'll be like, "Hi," and he doesn't look so angry like Izzy here. And why that's important is because sometimes you'll come across obstacles in the stage that have this like, as like an angry face with like action lines around it, meaning you can use your head to break them. So sometimes there's a wall and you're coming up to it and you can go boom and the wall will break, right? And it can reveal certain things in the environment, or maybe it lowers a platform, things of that nature. So there's an enemy that kicks soccer balls. You can actually hit the soccer balls back with a headbutt. It's pretty fun. That's part of the game, as well as, like I mentioned, the DualShock 4 controller, which I have over there charging. We'll use the PS5 controller for the meantime. So basically, if I hold my controller up in my view, an actual controller shows up in the game. It's an Astro Bot themed controller in the game, and only square and X are really highlighted on the face buttons. But in any case, you can get these special abilities like a water hose, a pulley hook, or throwing stars, and later on like a Gatling gun. And they all are operated via the touchpad. So like the throwing stars, you just throw them like this. And you know, the way you tilt your controller and aim your controller and like raise and lower it depends on where it'll go. Same thing with the pulley hooks. You throw them like that, and then you can actually throw them and hold it there. And then Astrobot, say there's a line from my slide shoe there to the controller, I can then have Astrobot jump onto that and walk along that line. Really neat stuff. I think I mentioned the throwing stars. The water gun, you press and hold it, and you can just kind of aim, and you'll shoot a stream of water. And there's some levels with like lava, where you shoot the water on the lava to create a path where you can walk, or you cool down hot platforms, or you destroy like some fire enemies. A lot of these accessories that you get are used in the boss fights, and the bosses are all seen right here on the side here. There's actually a couple that aren't shown there, but those are the first 3 bosses. And man, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. The challenge stages are a really great time. The difficulty on this game I thought was perfect, man. It's like, it's not hard enough that you can't beat it, but there's just enough challenge that you might have to try a few times at some of these stages. And the music, just like all the other Astro Bot experiences I've seen and come across, is really great. Really catchy tunes. I've actually been humming and singing some of the songs ever since playing it. It's not like a huge lineup of tracks, but they are good. They are good. Really good quality stuff there. But honestly, man, like if you played Astro Bot on the PS5 and thought it was good, my recommendation is if you can find a PlayStation 4 VR for cheap, do not sleep on this. Like, especially like I've said, if you can find it for like $50, if you can get a headset for $50, I'd say jump at it. Now, granted, you want to make sure that headset comes with the camera. It needs to have the camera, and you might have to get the PlayStation 5 adapter for it. But if you can get a headset, this game is super, super worth playing. Out of everything I've played on VR so far that have been like VR exclusive, this is absolutely the best game. This ranks number 1 right now out of all my VR experiences. And right now, my beaten VR games is looking pretty good. Sorry, I put this lamp over to the side here. Just to kind of, I wanted extra light in the room while I was playing the game, but I didn't want to glare on my TV. So, that's a little too close. There we go. Out of all these experiences that I've played, Astro Bot has been the best. I would say Resident Evil 7 is probably the next best, but that's not, I mean, it's got a VR mode, but it wasn't a VR game, right? But that being said, I mean, I've got a ton more VR experiences to get to here. A ton more. So that could change. But truth be told, I think Astro Bot's really going to take it for the near future. So it's interesting. I don't hear anyone really talk about this game. It seems to be this forgotten Astro Bot game. And I think at the time, it was certainly discussed, and people were definitely aware of it. Like, it wasn't this obscure thing, but I think the amount of exposure that gamers got to this is actually limited because not a lot of people jumped on to the PlayStation 4 bandwagon. I mean, or PlayStation VR bandwagon, I should say. Keep in mind, I mean, when that thing launched, it was the same price as a PS4 console. Just like the PSVR 2 is right now, man, it's really tough to bite the bullet and spend that kind of cash, especially on a peripheral that you don't know if it's going to be supported or not. And one of the cool things about the PlayStation VR for PS4 is it very much was supported for a very long time. There's a huge library of games you can play on this thing. From what I'm hearing, the PSVR 2, not so much, which is disappointing to say the least. I really hope that we get a sequel to this game on PSVR 2. I doubt we will. It sounds like for the most part, Sony has pulled support on that thing, which really sucks. But another really neat thing to this, does this say on the back? It does. I pointed this out before when I talked about NAC. Japan Studio, Sony Japan Studio was behind this, and that studio no longer exists. And this is just an absolute masterpiece. I mean, this game is extraordinary. Like I said, it is one of the most fun games, like one of the most fun experiences I've had in gaming throughout my entire life. This alone, like, warrants the existence of VR. It's that good. It's that good. So good. I'm definitely going to get a better version. Like this tear on my case breaks my heart now. At the time, I was like, well, it's cheap. I don't ever see it for this cheap. Let me go ahead and grab it. And I don't regret doing that, but I got to get a label upgrade because, woo-wee, that's rough. But in any case, that's all I got to say about Astro Bot Rescue Mission, man. Check it out if you can. Check it out if you're willing to. It's definitely worth it. And don't forget to comment below. Have you played this game? Were you aware of this game? Have you played the new Astro Bot? I have not played it yet, but I gotta tell you, this has lit a fire under me to try to get my hands on that as soon as I can. I think what I'm probably gonna do is put in a request for it at my local library. I'll probably end up playing it before I end up owning it, and sometimes that's just how that goes. But yeah, I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on Astro Bot as a series, as well as any thoughts you have to share around PlayStation VR's version, Astro Bot Rescue Mission. And to be clear, they are totally different games. But yeah, with that being said, if you enjoyed hanging out today, please consider subscribing to the channel. I upload multiple videos every week, and we've been having nice little steady growth over here, man. It's really good to see the community growing, and I appreciate y'all chatting me up in the comments. That's what this is all about, just hanging out, talking games, getting to know each other a little bit, and having a good time. As well as if you enjoyed this conversation, please consider liking the video. It goes a long way in supporting the channel and helping us grow. But other than that, that's all I got to say today about Astro Bot Rescue Mission. Check this game out. Thanks for watching D+Pad Life. I'll see y'all guys next time.